All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore an idea that might just reshape your entire world online. See, today, we're digging into this fascinating analysis that makes a pretty bold claim. Digital ID isn't some political choice we get to debate, it's a technological inevitability. So yeah, let's get into it.
And really, it all kicks off with this huge question. A question that, honestly, generative AI has forced every single one of us to face. And that question is, what happens when the internet just can't tell what's real anymore? When that basic layer of trust we all took for granted completely evaporates.
Okay, so that brings us to our first big topic, the reality problem. Because, the issue we're staring down right now is this deep, fundamental crack in how the internet has operated for, 30 years? The very DNA of what real even means online has been rewritten. And this really lays out the shift perfectly. For decades, right? We all worked on this simple assumption. If you saw a human account online, it was probably a human. Well, that assumption, it's gone. It's not just bent, it is permanently shattered. I mean, think about it. We've got AI agents that can argue with you, even flirt with you. We've got massive bot swarms that can fake entire social movements. We've got deepfakes so good they can fool you on a live video call. A human account today, it could literally be anything.
So what happens when that foundation crumbles? What are the real consequences? Well, that leads us right into our second section, when trust collapses. And let's be clear, this isn't about getting a few more spam emails. No, this is what you'd call a civilizational level authentication problem.
And this right here really shows you what's at stake. I mean, look at this list. Elections, banking, our courts, the news, social media, even the markets. Every single one of these critical systems is built on one simple idea: being able to tell who is a real person. The second you can't trust that anymore, banking gets hit with unimaginable levels of fraud. Courts can't rely on video evidence. And elections, they can be completely manipulated by armies of fake synthetic people. The whole system just starts to wobble.
Okay, but you're probably thinking, wait a minute, we have tools for this, right? CAPTCHAs, phone verification, all that stuff. Well, here's the problem. As you can see here, all those tools were built for a world where bots were, frankly, pretty dumb. AI completely flips that script. Today's AI can solve those annoying squiggly letter puzzles faster than you can. It can mimic the exact typing patterns and pauses of a real person. And those phone or email verifications, please, bot farms and sim farms can get around those in a heartbeat. The point is, when you try to apply these old solutions at a global scale, every single one of them just breaks.
So, if all the old ways of telling humans from bots are broken, then what's left? What do we do? Well, that brings us to Section 3, the inevitable solution. Because according to this analysis, there is only one system left standing that actually works against AI at a global scale.
And that solution is something called digital ID. Now, this isn't just another username or a profile picture. No, we're talking about a persistent, state-backed cryptographic link, a secure connection between one actual physical human being and one digital actor. The idea is simple. One human equals one legal digital entity. That's the key difference. It provides certainty when every other system out there can only give you a probability.
And this right here is the absolute core of the argument. The idea isn't that digital ID shows up because of some political party's agenda. No, the argument is that it emerges because AI has fundamentally changed our reality. It's kind of like how the invention of the airplane made passports a necessity for international travel. It's not a political choice, it's a technological consequence.
Okay, so once a solution like that gets put into place, it sets off a whole chain reaction. A series of dominoes start to fall. And that's our next section, the chain reaction. And this causal chain really lays out that domino effect. So step 1, AI creates infinite fake humans, and our trust in the online world breaks. Step 2, society naturally starts demanding a new anchor for reality. People want to know what's real again. Step 3, digital ID emerges as basically the only solution that can actually work at that massive scale. And then, this is the big one. Step 4, our human identity becomes machine-readable. And once that happens, you can essentially rewrite the entire operating system of society.
But look, this kind of change isn't going to happen overnight. It's not like a switch gets flipped. The analysis projects this is going to be a phased rollout. So phase 1, it starts off pretty innocently, right? It's just an optional verification for some extra safety features. But then phase 2, it becomes required for things like finance and government services. After that, in phase 3, the big social media platforms make it mandatory. And before you know it, you're in phase 4 where it's basically required for any serious online activity you want to do.
And if you're wondering about the odds, well, this chart really drives the point home.
The probability of our digital future including some form of digital ID, whether it's a soft hybrid system or a full-blown infrastructure, is seen as incredibly high. We're talking 80–90% for hybrid system, and the chances that we can keep our current, mostly anonymous, non-ID internet going in the age of AI, well, according to this analysis, the odds are pretty slim, maybe 10 to 20%.
Okay, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking right now. This sounds like something people would fight against, right? It sounds dystopian. Well, this next section makes a really counterintuitive argument for why that resistance might not matter. It's called Why We Will Ask for It.
Why would we ask for it? Because the alternative is a world of permanent instability. We're talking massive financial fraud becoming the norm, AI-driven market crashes, constant chaos around every election, deepfake evidence being used in court, entire social movements being faked by bots. When you're living in that kind of world, a world where reality itself is always under attack, the idea of freedom starts to feel a little hollow.
And that leads to this crucial psychological shift, which this quote just captures perfectly. Digital ID will feel like rescue, not a cage, but a lifeboat. Think about that. When society feels like it's drowning in a sea of fakes and fraud and manipulation, you don't see the lifeboat as a cage. You see it as the only thing that can save you, and you scramble to get in.
And at the end of the day, it's probably the practical stuff that seals the deal. Convenience will override principle. Security will beat abstract freedom. I mean, imagine one-tap logins for everything instead of a million passwords you can't remember. Getting government services instantly, knowing that AI is blocking fraud before it ever gets to you. When faced with total chaos on one hand and security and convenience on the other, history shows society almost always picks security and convenience. So, let's say we do it. Let's say we all climb into that lifeboat. What happens next? What does that world actually look like? Well, our final section dives into the really profound implications of this new reality. Welcome to A Machine-Readable World. And here you can see the full chain reaction play out. Once digital ID becomes mandatory, government can become AI-administered. Money itself can become programmable, meaning transactions can be automatically controlled or restricted based on a set of rules. Even citizenship could become programmable, where your rights and what you can access are tied to specific verifiable conditions. It all points to this massive shift away from the idea of ownership and toward a society that's built on different tiers of access. And this brings us to the final and maybe the deepest point in this entire analysis. The deepest truth here is that digital ID isn't really about surveillance. It's about making human society machine-compatible. It's about restructuring our world so that it can be read, managed, and optimized by algorithms. It's the moment our civilization effectively becomes software. And that leaves us with one heck of a question. Once that happens, who gets to write the code?